a game show host, everything will be fine.
Absolutely.
Sounds like James.
Hi, welcome back. All right, let's do gather together. Here we go. We gather together to bless the voices in silence and services will is not done. His word ever stressing is wonder expressing praises to the Father. We know we are within us abiding our God who guide, ordained, maintained your true kingdom divine, as humbly in Christ we are waiting, light bringing the way, oh love is shine. We come to sing praises and know that in hearing our blessings shall be. With this congregation, proclaim the decrees. Spirit we are one, in Christ we are free. That's such a pretty song. Okay, now I'm going to officially ask you to stand and join us singing our official opening hymn. Gift to be simple. This is one of my favorites.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am Reverend Mary Dunn, and it is my honor to be here with you this morning. We want you to know, whether you are here with us or whether you're watching us from home, that we are sending you our love. We know and appreciate and value our Unity family. So, some announcements this morning. So, after the service today, we are celebrating our Reverend James' birthdays. And everybody should have gotten a flyer. So you all know we are moving. Is that not? That's what I say. Woo! Yes. So you got the address, and our first Sunday there will be December the 12th at 10 a.m. I think that sound. Yes. All right.
So after service, we can have lunch and not dinner.
Yeah, correct.
Well, we'll see how that goes. But anyway, got all the information about that. On November 21st, we will be having a Thanksgiving dinner after service. So Linda Thomas is kind of in charge of that. And she wants you to know that the turkey, stuffing, and mashed potatoes are provided. So you're welcome to bring anything you want to go along with that meal. So just let her...
Pie, baby! I'm sorry.
I love this man.
Yay, pumpkin pie.
I would say sweet potato pie, but I'm not going to be here, so it's okay. And just let her know, Linda know what dish you're going to bring so we can make sure we have all the serving stuff and everything to be ready. And on Saturday, December the 4th, we're going to have our Unity Christmas party. So this again is going to be the I&J Fountain. Have any of you been to that one before? Yeah. All right, so that's where it's going to be. So what you need to do is to let Reverend Denise know that you'll be coming. And we're going to have dinner and there will be dancing. Yeah, James, you have to dance. I want to see you dance.
They could dance.
Yeah. You can dance with me, James. We can dance.
Here, I can do this. Here's my dancing.
That works.
All right, I can do that.
I can do that.
I can
That's
do
the extent of
that.
my dance. Eat your heart out, Fred Astaire.
Anyway, it should be fun, so please plan on that. And if people are coming to the INJ, then you need to know you are responsible for paying for your own meal and your own drinks. Remember, Denise is good, but she says, not treated. All right, our prayer chaplain today is Reverend Carol Ricketts. Right there, she'll be happy to pray with you in the corner over here. And our board member today is Jan Carnes. So if you have any questions about the board, or the church, or the move, please speak with her. All right, would you please join me in saying our mission statement? Together, our mission is to provide a prosperous and loving community by connecting to God through prayer and following the teachings of Christ. Join me in affirming our opening statement. Together, I am alive, alert, awake, joyous, and enthusiastic about this day. All right, let us pray. And we say, Father, Mother, God, living, loving presence. This is a time of giving thanks. That we are thankful for each and every one of our congregants. We're thankful, Father, for the veterans. We're thankful for the people who served in the many ways this country. We're thankful, we are thankful. And we say thank you that we are able to help others. We know that we are blessed, and we're happy to share our blessings. And I ask this and all blessings in the name and through the power of the living Christ. And so it is. Amen.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done.
divine love, wisdom, and understanding expressed through me. If I feel unsure of the next step in any situation, I let go and let God. I don't walk away from difficulty or try to force resolutions. Instead, I release my tight mental grip on problems and open myself to solutions. I let go of my ego's desire for control and my need to bring about specific outcomes. I believe there are solutions and remedies beyond what my mind can conceive. I yield to possibility. I trust the indwelling divine presence, just as I would trust a mentor. Letting go and letting God means creating a space for the dynamic, creative energy of spirit to inspire and surprise me. Divine love, wisdom, and understanding fuel my thoughts, expressed through my words, and guide me in all ways. Teach me your way, O Lord, that I may walk in your truth. Give me an undivided heart to revere your name. Psalms 86:11.
You can spend your whole life building something from nothing. One storm can come and blow it all away. Build it anyway. You can chase a dream that seems so far out of reach, and you know it might not ever come your way. Dream it anyway. God is great, and I'm grateful for my God. But when I pray, doesn't always turn out like I think it should. But I do it Sometimes it seems the world's gone crazy, and it's hard to believe that tomorrow will be better than today. Believe it anyway. You can love someone with all your heart, for all the right reasons. In a moment they can choose to walk away. Love them anyway. God is great, and I'm grateful for my God. When I pray, doesn't always turn out like I think it should, but I do it You can pour your soul out, sing a song that you believe in, that tomorrow they'll forget you ever sang. Sing it anyway. Sing it anyway. I sing, I dream, I love.
Thank you, James. You gave me God bumps all over again. I love that song because it's kind of our story. It really is, at least for me. Because, I decided to become a minister and I get this beautiful church and Reverend Billy leaves and I have to deal with that, and then COVID comes and I have to deal with that, and I have board members who leave and I have to deal with that. But I did it anyway. And look where we're going. It's just amazing to me. God is so good. But I haven't forgot about my joke. It's a short one. I knew Mary was getting all excited. Oh, she forgot her joke today. All right, it's a short one. There's these two boys who've been to church and they're walking home. And the minister had given this real long sermon on the devil and the power of the devil. And so they're walking home and he's saying, well, what do you really think about this Satan stuff? And the other boy says, well, you know how Santa Claus worked out. It was Dad. Wow, I got sheer silence on that one. It's a joke, James. It's a joke to all the men who are sitting in there. Joke. Santa Claus Dad. Another S word, Dad. God forgive me. This week is all about gratitude. For the whole month, I should say. We'll forget about the joke and we'll move on. So, gratitude, and we're working on moving from a consciousness of being grateful for things, which I think we've all become pretty good at listing things that we're grateful for, and creating a consciousness of gratefulness. A consciousness that knows that God is in every situation and can be grateful that God is here. So I have a little inspirational story, because last week we talked about how we do that by raising up and seeing our issue from a higher perspective, right? That we, when we're facing a challenge, we can just let it go and say, God, I know you're in the midst of this. I'm choosing to rise up higher. So I have a nice little nature story that kind of tells us the same thing. Once upon a time, there was a seed buried in the mud. It was in dark blackness. It was cold and wet. It shivered. It was just plain no fun. It was icky. It was dirty. It was muddy. It was mucky. It was stuck in the mud. Don't we all sometimes get in that place where we feel like they're stuck in the mud? Well, let me tell you how the seed got there. One nice breezy fall day, it had fallen on the ground. Then it rained a little bit, and a deer came along and stepped on it and pushed it deep in the mud. Life just isn't fair. I am all alone. If I'd only fallen like the other seeds in the grass or on the log over there, or at least not stepped on. But the little seed did not see that the mouse had eaten the seeds that were on the grass, and the bird had eaten the seeds on the log, and the chipmunk that had gathered the seeds on the ground to store and eat all winter long. It couldn't see this because it was stuck in the mud. It didn't know how truly protected it was. Now, besides being squashed tight in the mud, it was also locked in its own shell. It tried to get out of the terrible predicament, but by the fall days, Time got shorter and shorter. It got colder and colder too. It had no strength to get out of its shell. The mud was frozen solid. The deep snow covered it. It went through a terribly cold and dark winter. Finally, after what seemed forever, slowly the days grew a little longer, a little warmer. The seed had some work to do and it began to grow. The water in the mud had softened its shell. Still, it was hard to get out of the shell. It had to do extra energy like never before. It struggled and struggled, and it finally broke free. Then, much to its surprise, it used more energy to grow not up, but down. Struggling to send a tiny root through the icky, muddy ground, that terrible place. It had to struggle yet again with great effort to send a tiny root to the light above. And through all the icky mud, finally it was free and it had reached the warm sunlight. You would think his troubles were over. Not so fast. In a whole year, it grew only a few inches, while the other plants grew by leaps and bounds as if to mock the little seed. Every fall, it lost its leaves. In the winter, it barely survived, covered by snow. And as it got a little taller, it had to go through windstorms and blizzards. But one thing was peculiar. Even while it grew slowly up to the sunny blue sky, it never forgot its roots. It had the wisdom to keep growing its roots deeper and deeper into the mud. In fact, it used every windstorm, every blizzard, every shaking experience, every vibration to wiggle its roots deeper and deeper into the icky mud. As the years rolled on and the seasons too, each summer it slowly grew, but it grew. Each winter it became a little stronger, a little tougher. It had little joys and little sorrows throughout life, as we all do. Then it came the fiercest of all storms. The wind blew so violently this way and that. The trees all around were dashed to the ground, broken, uprooted, and a tangled mess. And after the devastation, the sun shone once again. To be sure, it didn't look so pretty. Some leaves were missing, in fact, quite a few, but that would be mended soon. Because it hadn't forgotten its roots as a seed in the mud, it stood there in all its glory, and it had become the mighty oak tree. Do you see that? Do you see yourself in that story? I know I do. So many times I felt like I was in the mud, in the cold, in the dark. Nobody's around to help me. But God sees a different picture, does he not? God knows what you're meant to be. You are that divine seed that's growing. Just growing and growing. And as the storms come, we get stronger and stronger. And we can be in that place of gratitude, knowing that during the storm, God is there. During the storms, we are digging our roots into our faith, into our trust in God. And we can celebrate during the storm because we know God is there, and that in the end, we will be standing in all our glory when other trees have fallen down, when other things have disappeared, When we stand in our faith and our trust in God and in our gratitude, knowing that God is with us, God has a plan, God will see us through. We can be as amazing as this beautiful oak tree that stands through all storms and stands there in His glory, in His glory. But I find in order to get to that place, we have to become good at letting go and letting God, right? Because we all like to do that. If you're like me, I like to put my heels in the dirt and say, no, God, I want it this way. I want it this way. This was not my dream to be having church in this space. I didn't want it this way. God had a plan. I just had to wait for it. It came right to us with no problem. Right to us. We will stand in our glory. So I have another little story about letting go. I'm into nature this week. It's how to hunt a monkey. Do you know how hunters of old used to trap monkeys? A man asked his child. Rather than chasing them up a tree or shooting arrows from below, they put a heavy glass jar with a narrow neck on the floor, with the monkey's favorite food inside the bottle. Then they would step back and hide, waiting for the unexpected monkeys to approach. When it did, the monkey would reach inside, clench a fist around the food, and try to pull it out. However, the narrow neck of the jar would stop the poor monkey from getting his hand out. It would pull and pull, but to no avail. There was simply no way to get his hand out of the jar without releasing the food. Rather than letting go, though the monkey could persevere, refusing to drop his dinner, the hunters would then approach and catch to enjoy a meal of their own. Do you see that? Sometimes we get a hold of something and we grab it so tight that we can't get our hand out of the bottle, and then a consequence will always happen, right? Something, that spiritual 2x4 comes along and gives us the ability to let go. But how far down this path do we have to go till we get to the point where we're willing to let go? That's the question of the day, right? How far are we going to go down that negative spiral that says, I'm stuck in the icky mud, I'm stuck in a shell, I'm stuck, and I'm not going anywhere? How long does it take for us to let go of what we think should be happening, to let go of how we see things should be working out, to just say, okay, God, I surrender. Use your power, your glory to strengthen me in my faith and in my trust. Use your power to create in and through me something better than I could never imagine. Something that just blows my mind, like this new Jewish synagogue. It just blew my mind. And all I did was make one simple phone call. And boom, boom, boom. Here we go. Right? Okay. Well, I have another story from the book of Acts about a man who doesn't understand about letting go either. It's Paul. Now, Paul has been told by God not to go to Jerusalem. Don't go there. Well, Paul doesn't understand why he can't go to Jerusalem. So he goes anyway. So here we are. We can relate this story to ourselves. We've been given the guidance, what we need to do, but we say, no, that doesn't make any sense. I'm going to do it my way. So he goes to Jerusalem, and lo and behold, he gets thrown in jail. he gets thrown in jail. He doesn't even have a reason to be thrown in jail. He's preaching the gospel. They decide they don't like it, so they throw him in jail. Now, he doesn't remember, like 10 verses ago, he was just in jail with solace. And when they were in jail, they rejoiced that they were in jail. We're talking about gratitude again, right? They were rejoicing that they were in jail, and lo and behold, there was thunder, and the doors broke open. So he's seen God work through his life not too long ago. Just like the rest of us, we've seen God work in our lives before, but he's forgotten. So he's in jail, and he thinks he has to go see Caesar in order to get out of jail. Well, Caesar represents the intellect in us, that part of us that likes to be logical, that doesn't turn to God to get answers. He looks to the outer world. He knows, I have to talk to Caesar to get out of jail. I have to appeal to him to get out of jail. So it's a long trip from Jerusalem to where he needs to go. So he has to get on a ship. And on this ship, some of the weather is not going to be too good. And he tries to tell these people, the weather's not going to be good. We should wait a couple days before we go. But guess what? They don't listen to him. He's not coming from that place of light and love. He's coming from a place of counting on Caesar to help him. So they get on the boat, and they're on this ride, and at first it's very smooth, right? When we decide to do something on our own, we think we got the answers. It kind of works out kind of smoothly in the beginning, but as time goes on, the waters get rough. The waters get rough. He's staying to his, got to talk to Caesar. He's in that place of believing the outer world has power over him. He's actually in prison to the outer world because he thinks Caesar's the only one that can help him. He's not looking to God. He's not staying in gratitude. So the waters get really rough, and they haven't eaten for days, of course, because the waters are so rough. And the Lord talks to him, and I'll read to you what he says. Maybe. Where's my piece? I'll find it. There we go. Okay. It says, "Thou shalt keep him in a perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee." Okay? Whose mind is stayed on the Christ within. The Spirit will surely take care of any of you in a contingency. You have nothing to fear, for you have learned that there is no evil. I want you to hear that. There is no evil. To appeal unto Caesar is to forget the basic doctrine of your faith. I'll read that again. To appeal to Caesar is to forget the basic doctrine of your faith. You who are in the world but not of it should not court its favor or approval. Such a course is inconsistent with your highest calling and trust. So anytime we're looking for the outer world, which would be represented by Caesar, to solve our problems, we're giving up on our faith. We're giving up on our trust. Now, if we have prayed and meditated on something and we get the guidance to seek to talk to somebody or to do something, that's something different. You're receiving guidance from God. That's a whole different thing than using your intellect and your ego to solve problems. So Paul starts to tell them that they need to eat, that they're all going to survive this crazy shipwreck that they seem to be on, that we need to eat. So he's telling them we need to assimilate affirmations of truth. If you're going to look at this metaphysically, eating is saying statements of truth, assimilating the truth. will not lose anyone. God is here. He gives thanks to God. He finally gives thanks to God when the ship is about to wreck, right? He finally gets back to where he's supposed to be, calming the other people on the boat, telling them everything's going to be all right, but we have to stay on the boat, because some of them are wanting to jump off the boat at this point in time. Because if you want to die, jump off the boat. If you want to live, stay on the boat. This boat is the same as in Noah's Ark. It is the consciousness that we are in that's driving us through this river of negativity. So they have to stay on the boat because that's where they're being protected. That's what God's told them to do, to stay on the boat as long as you can. So that's what they end up doing. And then they end up throwing off all the other items that are on the boat, of course. And finally, the boat does wreck into some island, and they all get off the boat. Now, the guy who's in charge of Paul, and is charge of the prisoners, wants all the prisoners to be killed because they'll be set free if they're on this island. They can't keep track of them. And lo and behold, God is in the midst of this again. There's another soldier that says, no, Paul and the rest of the prisoners need to live. So look, God's always on your side. Even when somebody says, you need to be killed because you're a prisoner, you're going to be set free if you put foot on this island. Lo and behold, there's someone else who says, no, you're not going to kill Paul. You're not going to kill these prisoners. We're going to let them on the island. And they do. That's letting go and trusting God, right? How many of us would be in that same situation and believe that we were going to live when we're on this boat of disaster? But Paul's finally surrendered. He surrendered it all over to God. And lo and behold, he gets off the island. Now, you think all his troubles are done, just like in the story with the sea, right? He's been through a lot. He's been on a ship for days that's been tossed around, breaking apart, and they survive. They get to the island. And the people who live on the island, once again, it's cold and wet there. They're there, they build a fire. They're building a fire for them. And Paul goes out to go get wood for the fire. And when he goes out to get wood, there's a snake. And the snake bites him big time on his hand. And what does he do? He just shakes the snake off. Doesn't think any more about it. And the people who live on the island think he's God because he's been bitten by this snake. His hand did not swell up. He's not dead. Anybody else bitten by the snake would be dead. But all he does is shake the snake off and keeps on going. And they begin to give them whatever they want because they think Paul's a god. But do you see what's happening in this story? Paul doesn't go to that place of, oh my God, I'm going to die. I just got bit by a snake. No, that's not where he goes. He trusts God. He's got his roots trusting in God. And he just shakes the snake off. Any of us can shake the snake off and live. It's from being in that place of gratitude, from being in the place of seeing higher, from that place of always digging your roots into the truth of who you are. Any one of us could shake that snake off and live. And that's what he does. And of course, all his people get treated wonderfully on this island because they think he's God. I think that's an amazing story. A story where we've all been. We've all been in those places where it all looks like it's going to fall apart, where we all feel like doom and gloom is surely upon us. And all we have to do is rise up higher, see it from a different place. See that we're not being punished. I know that's what a lot of us feel that have grown up in the old religions, that God is punishing us for something, right? We're on this boat that's about to fall apart. God is punishing me for something. No. God is there to support you. God is there to show you the way. God is there to create miracles in and through you. But that's never going to happen if you're always going to give Caesar, something out there in the world, power. It's never going to happen. We have to trust God. We have to let go and let God create in and through us. Now, we may not see it. We may not even believe it, but it's happening. Just like that seed in the ground is growing. We may not see it, but it's happening. Even though those roots are growing down in the ground, we don't see it, but guess what? It's happening. It's happening. And did God know that Paul was going to get through this experience on this ship? Yes, he did. And he was able to create in and through him that experience where he did that. And was Paul a standing oak tree when it was all done? You better believe it. With every experience we overcome, does your faith and trust in God grow? Absolutely. And would that faith and trust in God grow without having some challenges before us? No. No. When life is good, I might let my prayer time slide during the day. When life is good, my time with God might not be as strong as it used to be. When life is good, I think I'm the one that's creating all my goodness, right? No. Unfortunately, as delightfully human beings, we need some challenges in life to spring us into a higher elevation of spirit, to bring us up into a place where we know we're one with God and that God will solve and create in and through us amazing things. But that's never going to happen if we're looking to the outer world for that to happen. We could look out at the outer world now and it's looking pretty chaotic, just like it was on the ship for Paul. And we have a choice to make. Are we going to look at it from a higher perspective? Are we going to see that God is working in the midst of it somehow, some way? Can you dig your roots of faith in God into the ground and end up being a huge, standing, glorified oak tree when all this chaos settles down? Are you willing to be that instrument of God that unites people instead of dividing people? Are you willing to be that instrument of love that loves no matter if you've had your vaccine or not, that loves no matter whether you're a Democrat or Republican, that loves whether you're prosperous or not? Can we be that instrument of light and love and look in people's eyes and see the Christ in them, to see the good in them, to love them just where they are? Because that's the only way we're going to heal this planet, is to rise up higher, to see from a higher perspective, and then to put our faith in God, to let go and to let God create in and through us. Because the only way we're going to change this planet is one person at a time. So if I can see anybody on the street, anybody who crosses my path, and see the light of God or see the Christ of God in them, guess what that does? That lifts them up. That lifts them up. And then we can create something new, something different, something loving, something wonderful. If we just let go Quit judging people. Let go and let God, through this wonderful power of gratitude, create peace and joy and love and beauty on this planet. So are you with me?
Yes.
Are you ready to let go and let God?
Yes.
I let go and let God. Together, I let go and let God. I plant my roots in God. Together, I plant my roots in God. Amen. And we will see miracles happen. This Jewish synagogue is just the beginning. Just the beginning. And if we can do that at church, just imagine what we can do in the world. In the world. Where all that shining light together can overcome any darkness. So we don't care what it looks like. We're always going to take that higher perspective and shine our light, be the love that we are, and create a world of love. So let's do it, okay?
Yes.
Let's do it. We can let go. Let God use me. I am an instrument for you to use in this world. So I let go of what I see, and I'm willing to accept that God has something greater, something better for my life. And even though it may take me a little while to grow, that's okay. Even if other plants are growing faster than me, that's okay. We're all here in our own speed, at our own pace, in our own way. So we celebrate our ability to be grateful that God is working in and through us through every situation in life. And so it is. So let's take this time for prayer and meditation. Let's close our eyes and relax. And whatever worries or concerns or mucky times we might be going through, we just let it go right now. Just lovingly surrender it over to God. And say, God, I know you are here. You are right here in the midst of every situation in my life. And I am willing to deepen my roots in faith, in love, and I am willing to let go of the worry, to let go of the fear, and just say yes. Yes, God. I can feel your love. I can feel your power. I can feel your grace right here and right now. For I am centered and poised in the light. I am centered and poised in your love, which means I am in the divine flow of life, allowing miracle after miracle to happen in and through me. I choose to take my fingers off the steering wheel and let infinite good be created in me and in my world. So I just know I don't need to use my logic. I just know that God is here. God is in every situation. God is in every person. And I can feel that love. I can feel that energy and vitality because I am the light. And today I choose to let my light shine to the glory of God let's take some time in the silence, feeling that pure light of God within my own heart and mind. So let yourself become aware of your surroundings and hear the music James is playing. Wrap all that light under the soles of your feet so you're grounded. And always remember that God is with you, that you are living and moving in His power and presence. So let go and let God create miracles in and through you this day. And it is done. Amen.
No trees like